this is Kassie, and these are the Tarot horoscopes for the week of October 11 to October 17. Today we are using the Tarot Mucha deck, inspired by the work of Alphonse Mucha, the pioneer of the Art Nouveau, and that's actually a great synchronicity as I'm filming this in Prague, and I was just made aware that Alphonse Mucha was Czech. The universe always has its way to surprise us. As most decks, it comes with a companion booklet that you can use to help you with the interpretation of the cards if you are new. But without further ado, let's see the predictions for this week. For Aries, we got the Queen of Wands, and that's a card of action. And last week you had the Magician, which is another card of action. And that's why it seems that you are creating, you are developing something, and you are in the process of making something happen. The Queen of Wands is usually an Aries female, and if she doesn't represent you, she probably describes another female who's a fire sign like yourself, an Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, and will play a role in what you are trying to do. She's probably a helpful energy, so you will have a helpful influence around you this week, someone who will support you with your plans and maybe give you inspiration too and ideas. That's a very high energy card. That's why this will be a week to find what you're passionate about and go for it, and that can be a hobby, a job, or a relationship. Developments will be fast and you will feel very energized and ready to take action. Now you may feel that in order to make sure that something's done right, you may have to do it yourself, and that's probably the best way to do it, as it might be difficult for someone who's not on the same wavelength to follow your ideas. This week it's best that you don't rely much on others, especially those who have different views on how things should be done. You will have too much energy anyway, and you can get things done easily and efficiently. Also, if a decision that needs to be made is involved, it's best that you don't wait for others to make it. Take initiative and make a choice, which will probably be the best possible choice for all involved. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you are pushing things to get your way. It means that in some cases, and when others seems to be hesitating, not knowing which direction to take, you do need to take the lead, without being overbearing necessarily, but in a way that gets the action wheels going, so to speak, and also allow things to move forward. Although I admit that this week there will probably be those who will get on your nerves one way or another. Remember that calm authority can be much more attractive than anger and impulsive outbursts. For Taurus, the Four of Cups came up. After the star that gave you hope and inspiration last week, this week you will probably feel the need to take a break, to absorb and reflect on the events of the previous days and decide on a course of action. You will feel like taking your time, and that's okay. A stage has been completed anyway, and you do deserve to slow down a little. You may find yourself feeling a little bored or losing interest about the situation because the things that are being offered are not what you expected them to be. Taking some distance will help you gain a new perspective on things and decide what you like about the situation and what you don't, and which the pros and cons are. The Four of Cups represents the moon in Cancer. That means some emotional ups and downs will be there, or you may feel a little disconnected from your emotions, confused even, and you will probably feel a little more pessimistic than you should, especially if you have already started asking yourself if what you have is what you really want, and what you have is really important for you, Taurus. However, under this energy, things are better than they appear to be, and if you don't get stuck in negative thinking, you will find there's a hidden reserve you can tap into And that can be a newfound inner strength that will give you the opportunity to make the necessary changes. That's basically the way to move on from the energy of the Four of Cups that usually comes with some form of discontent. If you feel that something or someone is locking you in, remember that too much safety can lead to boredom at times. But while you are busy pondering other things, there might be something that you are missing, that you are not seeing at this stage. The Four of Cups is a passive card and does not advise action, but around Thursday this week, you may have a revelation that will help you decide what you need to do. For Gemini, we have the Wheel of Fortune. It appears that events that happened last week and this week too will be very significant and will determine a situation that seems to be unfolding still. Last week the world indicated that something had come to an ending or some sort of completion, but it feels that this week energies are changing in a very dynamic way. As the wheel foretells, there will be an unexpected event or unexpected events that some will feel them as karmic, that will set the wheels in motion again, in ways that were not anticipated. The Wheel of Fortune is the card of Jupiter, and usually comes with blessings or beneficial synchronicities that turn the tide and open new doorways for you, opportunities to make things work for you and not against you. So if what happened last week was not what you wanted, this week you will get a chance to make a 180-degree turn and take a completely different path, and you will be very surprised about how events and circumstances aligned to allow you to make such a big change. Also, the wheel talks about karmic debts, so if someone has been mean or unfair to you, this week you may see them getting what they deserve. And you don't even have to lift a finger actually, as life, the universe, will take care of everything. And you may feel very surprised when you see the way that God's punishing them. This week Destiny's powers are in play, and even if they feel random or chaotic at the first glance, you will soon realize that there's a certain dynamic and almost a mystical power that pushes you to move ahead in a way that you don't have to make much effort, and that there's an unseen force that's doing the work for you and that's carrying you forward. And at the same time, if you don't know exactly where you're heading to, there's an inner knowing that you are on the right path. In around 10 days from now, you will experience a very significant event that will be the culmination of the current energies, so try to relax and enjoy the ride. For Cancer, we got the Sun. After the uncertainty and indecisiveness that the Lover's card energy caused last week, this week you will get clarity that will lead you to make a decision, or you will know that the decision you've made in the previous days was the right one. The Lovers is an air card, and air is the mind, intellect, and communications. So there must have been discussions last week, and those discussions will lead to actions. You or another will be more active this week, and there will be some very positive vibes around you. The Sun is joy and positivity after all, as things coming out in the open in ways that are not hurtful or dramatic, but in ways that show there is intention to work things out. The Sun is liberation in seeing things as they really are. In any case, this card, this energy, will bring you a blessing this week, which can be clarity or healing or joy and hope for something. In some way, you will be the center of attention. Think of the Sun, the center of our solar system, and how the planets revolve around it. And those planets bring different energies that blend with the energy of the Sun. That's why this week you may have to deal with different energies, meaning with different people, and all of them may want something from you, and one way or another they may ask for your energy. Now it will be your choice and your responsibility to decide how much you give, and if you want to offer more to someone or you prefer to preserve some of your precious time and energy for those who deserve it the most. If you feel that someone has been draining by asking too much and for too long, you should consider wearing a 30 plus SPF sun cream, so to speak, to protect yourself from harmful vibrations. The number 19 has a very special meaning with this card. That's why it's very possible that something significant will happen in about 19 days or on the 19th of this month. The Two of Wands is the card for Leo. Something that has ended or stopped last week will open up new options for you this week. You had the Death last week, not a very easy energy admittedly, and there might have been some frustration or even some fears and insecurities that you dealt with, but that challenge seems to be triggering and opening up some new options for you. And the moment you think that something was over, new elements and energies came into play, and now you will find that you have to make a choice, probably between two different situations. The Two of Wands is one of the most active cards, as it represents Mars in Aries, and Mars feels quite at home in Aries, so whatever you want to accomplish will be successful this week, as long as you go for it. This is not a week of dreaming and wishing and hesitation. This is a week of pure action, manifestation, and progress. Even if it comes with some hesitation or indecisiveness, as twos always show some second thoughts, you will find that it will be easier for you to ride this wave if you keep moving, like a bicycle that's balanced only when in motion. The Two of Wands will usually bring some power struggles in one of your relationships, and you may find yourself being at odds with someone, but since twos are related to High Priestess, they also show instinctual knowledge, and that means you do know what you want deep down, even if in the surface you appear to be indecisive or even confused. You may find that deep down you know that you've already made your decision. It's inevitable that this week you will deal with some sort of contrast, duality, with two different energies that appear to be opposite, like light and dark, active and passive, and it's about knowing or learning how to use those energies in a balanced way by avoiding extremes. Also, the Two of Wands is a very sexy card. That's why you should expect strong attraction and sexual energies this week. For you, Virgo, you got the Seven of Cups. After a week of intense focus, concentration and control, this week it appears that energies are being released, and you may feel a little scattered, but that's okay, because the Seven of Cups suggests options, and it may be good for you to open up your mind and explore other options too, especially if you've been fixed on pursuing a certain outcome. Last week's Ace of Swords is a very concentrated energy. It's a card of control. It's a weapon basically, because it's a double-edged blade, and that can grant you great focus, but at the same time it can make you feel a little obsessed about a certain outcome. Now it's a time to consider other possible outcomes that might be more aligned with your vibration, and you may even discover things or persons that you were not aware of before, and those options will give you greater power or will offer greater potential. There might be a tendency to daydream and to allow yourself to be more emotional or sensitive than you were in the previous weeks, and that's fine, especially if you feel tired by the intensity. Just make sure that you are keeping things under control, as the Seven of Cups that represents Venus in Scorpio can be an intoxicating pleasure. So make sure that you don't give in to overindulgence and you don't get hypnotized by illusory success. And you know that as an earth sign you are very strong and grounded, but this week there will be a tendency to let yourself being influenced by people or situations that you will normally resist. That's okay to a certain extent, as you probably need to relax and unwind. Just remain aware that you are not overdoing it. As the Seven of Cups is a card associated with visualization, you will find your meditations and visualizations to be particularly strong this week. While keep a note for the days between 13 and 22 November, as it appears that something very significant will be unfolding around that time. But the current energies and event will probably give you a first taste of what to expect. Libra's got the Ace of Wands this week, which seems to continue the trend of last week. Aces show fresh energy, new beginnings and opportunities, and last week you had the Ace of Cups, which talks more about the emotional area of your life, personal relationships and love, while the Ace of Wands this week is more about inspiration and passion. That's why it feels that emotions you experienced last week will push you to take action now. You will actually feel very energized, very inspired, and in the beginning of this week someone will make a move that will trigger a series of events and developments that will continue unfolding until the end of the week, and there will be strong, passionate and sexual vibes too. So if it's a personal a romantic relationship, expect some very intense energies this week. In any case, developments will be fast and you will have to think on your feet. If it's a romantic relationship, you are at a state of physical attraction which seems to be quite strong and you will feel drawn to each other. But since these are the very early stages, you will need to remain patient and let those energies develop without force or pressure. The energy of Aces is very fragile and it needs patience and nurturing to grow, so it's basically about relaxing and enjoying those slow steps. And yes, there will be differences and things that you will have to explore and adapt if you want to pursue a certain outcome, which means that you also need to remain flexible and don't jump into conclusions too soon, as this Ace is fire energy, and not only will get you energized, but it will also make you impatient. You will feel that now is the time to act, but it's important to take the right kind of action, not just any action for the sake of it, and you will know what the right thing to do is, because it's basically what makes you feel inspired. For Scorpio, we have the King of Pentacles, a much more serious and grounded energy than the Sun that you got last week. And the Sun is about the joy, fun and optimism and has a very playful mood and vibe. But this week it seems that energies are shifting for you, and the King of Pentacles puts you in a more serious and practical mood now. There must be a male energy around you, a man who's causing these feelings, and you may feel that you need to get down to work with him and accomplish something significant together. And that could be a professional matter, literally. Pentacles are professional and financial matters. Or it could be a relationship that needs more effort to become more stable. Because Pentacles are earth cards and they like stability and long-lasting situations, and they are about making things solid for the long term. This man loves structured and methodical work. That's why spontaneous or unpredictable moves will probably not be appreciated. This week you'll have the chance to establish a base, a foundation to build upon in the future. But developments will be slow, mind you, so you need to manage impatience, as feeling impatient and impulsive will get you out of tune with this energy and will probably cause contrasts with another who wants to take things more slowly, as they want to be certain that they are doing what will bring the fullest results. it's possible that you'll have to deal with a family or property matter in which a conservative approach is advised, so try to avoid bold or risky moves, especially if you are making long-term plans and investments. A practical matter is completing this week, so expect good news about loans, money, or career. An event that happened between early April and early May could require your attention again this week, or there could be some sort of culmination or completion of something that started back then. Sagittarius, we have the Six of Swords this week, and you may find yourself moving away from last week's energies. And since you had the Ace of Wands then, which is inspiration and passion about a new project or beginning, but now you may feel that you are changing your mind and you are becoming more detached, taking some distance from a situation that felt promising and exciting, but now not so much. And that's probably because there must have been some sort of message or communication or conversation that made you have second thoughts about something or someone, or you saw things from another angle and now you are not so sure that you want to go ahead with it. The Six of Swords is Mercury in Aquarius, and that means that your thoughts are now getting faster, more intense, and more forward-looking. So you will probably start thinking more about the future of a situation and less about its present. And that means if the future you envision does not feel right or promising, you may decide to let it go and set sail for new shores that will probably offer other and more promising options that appear to be more in tune with your current thinking and attitude. That means you may hurt someone's feelings in that process, because you will now find it easier to rationalize your emotions in a way that logic overpowers them. So this week you will probably decide to do what's right according to your logic, and for a while you may decide to leave your feelings aside, as you are not willing to participate in emotional drama, especially if you suspect the drama is the most likely outcome of a particular connection. That probably has to do with your past experiences that must have caused you heartache or trouble, and you don't want to repeat old mistakes, and that's actually a very good idea, because it's certain that the universe will reward you for a lesson well learned. For Capricorn, we got the Page of Cups, which is one rank before the Knight of Cups that you had last week, and that means there's something that either didn't progress the way you had in mind, or that you decided to slow down or take a step back regarding an emotional connection. Perhaps because you felt that someone is more immature than you thought them to be, or because the situation moved much faster than you'd like and you want to bring down the pace a little and go more slowly. And that's because you are not clear yet on how far you want this to go at this stage. In fact, that may be the wise thing to do, especially if your person of interest is much younger or less experienced in love than you are, or if they show signs that they don't know what they want and you sense that stability isn't there. You might be thinking about the responsibilities that would be required, and you may be feeling a little uncertain or reluctant about whether you want to go ahead with it or not. In any case, the Page of Cups is a love card, and that means love and relationships will still be in your focus this week, and there will be romantic news, developments, and perhaps a romantic message or talk that will reveal the feelings of another. The water-based nature of this page indicates that things will be unstable for a while, because the situation has not yet matured and the people involved have not yet found their roles within it. So you might feel that you are walking in shifting sands at times, but at this stage it's almost inevitable that you will have to take an emotional risk, because there is romantic interest and attraction, even though it might not work out quickly, and you have to find the right way to make it work for both of you. Expect that this week you will receive an apology or an offer, and if it's an offer, it will be a heartfelt one. For Aquarius, the card is the Fool, and compared to the Hierophant you had last week, who's rigid and traditional, this week you will feel more spontaneous, as a doorway will open for you, and that doorway will also open up many different options for you to explore. Under the energy of the Fool, everything is possible, because the Fool is the card of life's infinite possibilities. But that's not without taking risks. There's always risk involved with this card, and at times a leap of faith that you have to take in order for you to liberate yourself from stale and stagnant energies that are holding you back. And there must be something or someone who's holding you back at this stage, but you already feel the need to spread your wings, so to speak, and explore new horizons. As the Fool represents a new beginning, expect that something will be offered to you by the universe, a new job or a new relationship, or even a revelation that will help you make a very drastic decision. In fact, you will feel in your element this week, because the Fool is the card of Aquarius, and you know this energy very well. But in case you're dealing with another person who displays the qualities of the Fool, expect that they will mirror you one way or another, consciously or unconsciously, so you might feel that they are copying your reactions or they are being unpredictable. This person cannot offer stability at the moment, as they have so many different ideas and options on their mind, and they are not quite sure which one of them they want to follow. You may find that you two have the same needs and the same desires at this stage. Also, they have a very strong need for independence, which is something that you understand very well, and it's something that you two appreciate. Because you are so alike, there's a good chance that you can find common ground and that things will work out in the end, but not without some mutual sacrifices, as no one really wants to get tied down. For Pisces, the card is the Hermit. You will feel more introspective this week, and you will probably feel the need to withdraw and be with yourself for a few days, as you need to find a solution to a complicated matter. And that process must have started since last week, when you had the Page of Swords, a card of ideas, communication, intellect, a card of the mind. But expect that this week your thoughts will be deeper, and you will analyze everything with greater detail and depth, and that might be a new feeling for you, because you are a water sign, and knowledge and ideas come to you mostly intuitively. But this week you will discover something, you will come to a realization through logical analysis and quiet reflection. You may even find things in yourself that were always there, but were very much repressed and pushed to the side. When it comes to relationships, the Hermit indicates that you or the person you are interested in needs some space, some time alone. So you may even decide to take a break for a few days, especially if you've been dealing with relationship issues. This is a good week to take a break and put things into perspective, to turn inward without distractions. Sometimes this might include the guidance of a counselor or mentor, or perhaps you will be the one being called to help another. This isn't a week to take action, that's a week to contemplate, meditate, and to observe what is going on before any further action is taken. Events that happened between 23 August to 22 September may come to a culmination or resolution now, and within 9 days, give or take, the situation that you are now experiencing will start shifting after the knowledge and the realizations that you will get this week. A Virgo person may play a significant role in your life life now, and may even help you find the answers you seek. So these were the weekly tarot scopes for the week of October 11 to October 17. And it appears that this week there will be several shifts as compared to the cards that we got last week. For many signs, there seem to be drastic changes, like things take a 180 turn. So what you experienced last week will be very different from what will come this week, and for some this is a much needed change and you will feel it very strongly, and it's an opportunity. Many of you will get the impression that you now have options and that things are not black and white, that there are many gray areas in between. In those gray areas you may find what you want eventually. So I hope you enjoyed the tarot horoscopes for this week, and I will see you next week.